Other medical universities. I'll talk about the diagnosis of PCV today. Let me introduce myself. Of course, it was 20 years ago. I studied ophthalmic pathology at Dr. Cho's laboratory in the University of Illinois. And so my specialty is micro disease and ocular pathology and laser ophthalmology. And I talk about the clinical pathological aspect of the CMV, PCV. This is one. Okay. AMD is now in the multifocal multimodal imaging is applied to the AMD diagnosis. I'll talk about PCV today. And I have 4 topics in this talk. The concept of the basic findings of PCV and its pathological finding and clinical pathological correlation of PCV. And tachyphylaxis in PCV and suspected pathogenesis of PCV and OCTA findings of PCV. First, it's concept of basic findings of PCV. The concept of polypoidal vasculopathy, choroidal vasculopathy. Polypoidal PCV is a major subtype of neovascular AMD, predominantly seen in West Asia countries, holding to 50% of neovascular AMD in Japan. And it has 2 components, branching vascular network and polypoidal region. These regions are dilated vascular region beneath RPE. At first, Dr. Yanuzzi reported that this disease has a vascular abnormality in the inner layer of the fora. And in the 1999, we reported that this is a peculiar type of subarachnoid choroidal emphysization. And very recently, Dr. Yanuzzi and Freud is saying that this is aneurysmal type 1 neovascularization. There's 2 diagnostic criteria of PCV. One is Japanese PCV study group guideline. Definitive PCV is elevated orange red region on fundus examination and or polypoidal region on ICGA. And probable PCV is only abnormal DVN seen in ICGA or recurrent hemorrhagic or COPD. In Everest criteria 2015, polypoidal region is focal hyperfluorescent region occurring before 6 minutes on ICGA, plus at least one of the following first DVN on ICGA, second proliferative versatility on dynamic on ICGA, third nodular appearance on ICGA stereoscopic view, and fourth hypofluorescent halo on ICGA, and fifth orange submerging nodule on color photograph, sixth associated massive submerging hemorrhage. This slide shows the basic finding of PCV. There is 2 types of fundus finding. One is exudative type. Exudative type have RP atrophy and orange red nodule plus serous RD and serous ED. This is 70% of the fundus finding. And the hemorrhagic type, subbranchial hemorrhage, 30% of disease. And fluorescent angiography, occult CN pattern, the granular and active leakage from polyps and roots from DVN. In the signing-degree angiography, DVN plus polypoidal region is look like a nodular hyperflow on polyps in early phase, round-shaped hyperflow on polyps, and drag on DVN at late phase. In OCT, double layer sign at BVN and plus control the elevation of RP within the with internal reflex. This slide shows a typical case of PCV. You can see a orange red nodule here, and nodule on the pantus appearance and mild RP atrophy. In the way, the granular hyperfluorescent at the BVN and leakage from polymers. And in the sign angiography, you can see a very fine branch bus network and polypoidal region. If you scan the green line, the OCT, this is the OCT finding, and you can see a polypoidal region as a polypoidal elevation RPE with internal reflex, and abnormal vascular network is the BVN that shows a double layer sign. And this horizontal line is Brooks membrane. I'll show that this pathological finding afterward. And this is also the typical case with internal reflex in polypoidal region of OCTA. This is a very small PCV case, and if you scan the polypoidal region, showing the loop-like configurations, you can see ring-like reflex suspected blood vessels under the RPE. And OCT can determine the feeder vessels of polypoidal region by EDL OCT. There is a two polypoidal region, and the feeder vessels is on in the yellow arrows. If you scan this line, you can see a feeder vessel from the colloid to the polypoidal region, BVN and polypoidal region. This is a schema of this condition. And there is a terminology in clinical classification issue. For very small region, BVN hardly observed type is called the Dr. Yuzawa in Japan, the PCV in the present narrow sense, typical PCV. And the right side, polypoidal CFM, the big, large region, radiating BVN, which have a radiating BVN, is called polypoidal CFM. And there are three other typing of the PCV, but it is very complicated. And these terms are specialized terms in clinical setting. Etiology might be different in two types. However, the abnormal vessel in the PCV is thought to be a kind of type 1 for the consolidation between the RP and Brooks membrane. This pathological. Dr. Yuzawa told us that this is a corridor vascular abnormality, and this is a corridor consolidation. And one more features of PCV. PCV appearing like type 2 CFV. In typical PCV, there is no classic component on the fluorescent angiography, but some 30% shows hyperpermeability of the region, and 5% is showing the PCV with type 2 CNV. This is a PCV with hyperpermeable region. You can see a subrachioid hemorrhage and subrachioid fibrin, the grayish X-ray under the retina, and serous RV. And you see a fluorescent angiography, the occurrence CNV pattern. It's corresponding to the BVN and classic CNV pattern. Very strong leakage from this region. And On ICG angiography, there is a BVN and polypoidal region. OCT is a very specific, shows very specific finding in this region. You can see a polypoidal region in the center, and there is a subretinal fibrin called sharp, subretinal hyperreflective material now, and there's internal reflex under the RPE. And this slide shows the PCV is type 2 CNV. You can see the subretinal fibrin in the Tarapandus photograph, and also in the Gaussian angiography, we could see a classic CNV, like leakage in the center of the fovea. And also in the ICG angiography, we can see a polypoidal region and type 2 CNV both in the same fundus. OCT shows the polypoidal region and the subretinal fibrin and SHRM, and serous detachment, sensibility. Now, we are using the OCT angiography to differentiate this type of from the hyperpermeability region. You see a PVN at the network vessels as network vessels, and the type 2 CNV is a little bit thick blood vessels, and in the cross-sectional OCTA, you can see a subretinal flow signal. This is a two type 2 CNV from the PCV. There is OCT is very useful for diagnosis of PCV with type 2 CNV. We can see a disruption of the polypoidal region, and if you see the cross-sectional OCTA, you see a flow signal in SHRM. That means some regional neovascularization. So PCV sometimes has a type 2 CNV component. So next talk is histopathological finding and clinical pathological correlation in tissue. We did a pathological examination of excised tissue PCV trees in the past. These cases are diagnosed as PCV by post-surgical clinical evaluation. We use a submacular surgery and take out CNV PCV specimen. This slide shows the clinical pathological correlation PCV, polypoidal region, excised tissue. And you can see orange-red nodule with delivery on color pandas photograph, and typical polypoidal region, the ICG angiogram. You see a polypoidal elevation of the RPE on OCT, very old OCT. This is a tissue we take out, and you can see a polypoidal-like elevation of the RPE. If you magnify this area, groups of the dilated vessel just beneath and just under the RPE are seen. And this vessel is just beneath the RPE basement membrane, attached to the RPE basement membrane, and very mature and degenerative vessels. And for the branching bus network, the OCT findings is double layer sign. I said that in this specimen, we can see a branching bus network on the right side. This is a tissue branching bus network. You can see RPE, and there is a blood vessels just beneath the RPE. It's a little bit sclerotic vessels under the RPE. And but the interior of these vessels has a budding and the migration of the interior cells. So this BVN is a sub-RPE new vessels with angiogenetic activity. So you could understand this case as like this, and the group of dilated vessels in the polypoidal region, and one layer of the abnormal vessels in the BVN between the RB and basement membrane, the Brooks membrane. And also this OCT shows such kinds of group of vessels is present under the RPD. And in the BVN part, you could see the rare sign is appreciate this tissue findings. Next talk is pachychoroid in PCV and suspected possibilities of PCV. The choroidal thickness in neovascular MD is different in the subtypes by subtypes of MD. Normal choroid has 250 micrometer in the central choroidal thickness. There is three types of neovascular MD. PCV is the most thick, has the most thick choroid in three types. And typical MD is a little bit thinner than the normal range. And RAP is very thin. It's a very weak, it has a very weak choroid. And choroidal thickening is proved in PCV by EDOCD. It is very characteristic finding. You can see for PVN as double layer sign and polypoidal region here. And there is a choroidoscleral junction by EDOCD. You can see 520 micrometer center for the thickness and hyporeflective space in deep layer of the choroid. And thinning of inner layer of the choroid. This condition was called pachychoroid. And this patient, this slide shows the right eye in the same patient. So this eye has a exudative nature and typical PCV and same very thick choroid and have same very thick choroid. PCV's pachychoroid have a strong tendency of the bilaterality. There is many reports about the choroidal thickness of PCV. All papers recorded thickening of the choroid in the eyes with PCV. And Young reported that choroidal swelling in PCV is mainly associated with vascular engorgement and dilatation in the choroid. And also that this slide shows a sibling of PCV cases with pachychoroid. Elder brother has an exudative type PCV, like the left side, and the younger brother has hemorrhagic type of PCV. So the risk area is almost to the 69 base and CFH, and this is a disease. PCV is a disease with hereditary state. And this slide shows a clinical pathological correlation of choroidal tissue PCV. Upper image is OCT image, as shown as previous, and this is lower. This is pathological PCVI. You can see dilatation of the choroidal vein and attenuation of the choroidal capillaries. That means atrophy of choroidal capillaries, narrowing or obstruction of the vascular lumen. This tissue was taken from choroidal tissue from hemiculated of PCV. that this is an enucleated case for PCV. This clinical finding, there is orange nodule in the fundus, and typical polypoidal region in ICG algebra, and also the OCT is very typical. This is the tissue we took, and here is a where is the point out right? Oh, this this is optic disc, and this is a macula. This area is macula, and then it's a temporal retina. We could see a BVN here at the subarachnoid space, and then polypoidal region here. And unfortunately, artificial letter detachment was occurred, but we had a colloid in this specimen. This slide. This is showing the polypoidal region under the PE. This is the PE, and there is a dilated vessels under the PE. And also, we had characteristic pachychoroid in these eyes. So we studied colloidal finding in pachychoroid. In control eye, there is this is a malignant melanoma case with intact macula. This is the macular colloid, and you can see regularly arranged choriocapillaries in this histology of the colloid. But in PCV eye, you could see a dilated choroidal vein in Harlan's region and attenuation of the choriocapillaries. In typical MDI, it's very progress case. You see a diffuse loss of choriocapillaries and atrophic change in this tissue. So pachyvessel is a dilated choroidal vein in Harlan's layer, and choriocapillaries above the dilated vein flattened, not clear. We also did CD34 staining for these tissues. CD34 staining of this anterior staining. You could see regularly arranged choriocapillaries. In CD4 staining, the anterior is staining brownish. Okay? So this is the choriocapillaries, and there is no dilatation of the vein in the normal eye. In PCV eye, you could see a dilated choroidal vein in Harlan's layer, and there is a dropout of choriocapillaries. This is a narrowing the residual choriocapillaries at the top of the dilated choroidal vein. And there, in typical MDI, there is a diffuse dropout of choriocapillaries and no engagement of the choroidal vein. We also did the histopathologic morphometry of choroidal vessels. The vertical diameter of choroidal vein was most thick in the PCV, and number of the choriocapillaries was decreased in comparing to the control. And horizontal diameter of choriocapillaries is also decreased. And this slide shows the patterns of the pachyvessels and the choriocapillaries dropout. In this pathology, you can see a focal dropout at the top of the pachyvessels here, and there's a diffuse dropout choriocapillaries above the pachyvessels. So this is my pathogenesis. Pathogenesis hypothesis, my hypothesis of pathogenesis of PCV. First, dilatation of choroidal vein occurs in Harlan's layer, and then compression of choreotypes by directed plane first, and dropout of choreotypes induce the chronic ischemia on RP and outer region layers. The visual aggregation, and then type 1 CNV growth, and hyperfusion pressure from the posterior ciliary artery makes the PCV, true PCV. And the last topic is diagnose OCTA findings of PCV. The OCTA findings of PCV, BVN is detected as distinct network vessel in choreotypes layer on first OCTA. Like this, and 70 to 100% detection rate on OCTA. And flow signal between RP and Brooks membrane on cross-section OCTA was seen. And in polypoidal region, the interregional blood vessel, interregional blood flow might be related to the detection rate of vascular chain image. Detection rate of the polypoidal region 25 to 92% in the past report. And vascular morphology in the region has wide variety. The flow signal in the region is usually seen just under the RP. This is very well corresponded to the histopathological finding I stated before. This slide shows a representative case of OCTA finding of in PCV. You can see orange red nodule, and this case has a PGP, serious PED, and suppression hemorrhage, and leakage from the polypoidal region on a fluorescent angiogram. You can see a DVN here and many polypoidal region. Very characteristic finding in the PCV. You can see a WR sign corresponding to the DVN and polypoidal protrusion. In OCTA, you can see DVN, a very thin vessel network of the it's composed of BVN, composed of very very thick blood vessel network, and polypoidal region is the mass of the very thick blood vessel also. Okay. If you scan of this line on cross-section OCTA, you can see a flow signal in the polypoidal region. Like this, just under the RP. This is a blood vessel of the, or this flow signal shows a blood vessel just under the RP, and also in the branching vessel network, you can see a sub-RP flow signal in this region here, between the RP and Brooks membrane. It is very useful to diagnose the PCV by OCTA. Now you can appreciate that these findings is corresponding to this finding, and this finding is corresponding to this finding. And also, if you look at this blood vessel, maybe there is a very mature wide lumen showing wide room and blood vessels is we observed. So we did a PCV OCTA study before 1 year, before 1 year, to observe the purpose is to observe and analyze precise vascular structure in peripheral region, BVN and OCTA, using manual segmentation, to know what kind of OCTA finding are corresponding to the drug response in anti-VEGF therapy. This slide shows the material method. We studied the 43 eyes in 43 cases, treatment of symptomatic PCV, and we did all examination for the PCV, and in OCTA we used manual segmentation for detection of PCV vascular blood vessels. We did this slide shows the examined case, examined item, and in this study. And treatment was performed by ranibizumab, 12 and 11 eyes, and approval, so 42 eyes. We classified the blood vessel in the peripheral region in two types. This is a very typical PCV case. You can see here peripheral region in middle phase of ICG angiography. This is a red phase. Okay. Again, we have a 3 peripheral region. In OCTA image, you can see a microvascular type polyp consisting of the very, very thin and high density blood vessels in the peripheral region. And in this peripheral region, you can see a loop type polyp. This is a vascular loop. In the peripheral region. In this study, IA-based diagnosis was 106 polyps, and OCTA-based we could detect 88 polyps. So detection rate was 83% by OCTA. And the microvascular polyp is about 40%, and loop type polyp 60%. And BVN total detection rate was 85%. It's divided into the classified into Medusa type and Fiddle-like type and Sigma type. This slide shows the detection rate of PCV by OCTA and past reports. There is a very low detection rate in the many reports, about 30 to 40%, but recently the detection rate is coming by using the manual segmentation in SSOCT, OCTA. In this study, the effect of anti-VEGF therapy for PCV is usual response, showed usual response. Improvement of the visual acuity and CRP decreasement, and central corridor thickness will decrease also. And we did a comparison of the regression rate by types of the blood vessel in PCV. I missed a slide. in this version. So I cannot show that image, but between the loop type polyps and the microvascular type, there's no different in the regression rate. And this shows the vascular change in PVN after induction phase of anti-VEGF therapy. About 80% regress the vascular regress in the PVN product. This slide shows an example of vascular change of anti-VEGF therapy. Okay. You can see polyps, 4 polyps in this case, and in OCTA there is a 4 loop type polyps. And there, this is a BVN. We can see a regression of the polyps and BVN both by 2 injection aflibercept. And 3 injection, there is a regression. You can see a regression of the polyps. And then we waited for a short period. There is a recurrence of the polyp. Okay? And then we got the subretinal fluid in this stage. And again, we did the intravitreal aflibercept. You could see a regression of the polyps. Okay. So the OCTA is very important to see the regression of the polyps. This shows the regression pattern of polypoidal region in PCV case. All polyps shows a loop type polypoidal region. This is a OCTA, and first injection there is no polyps, and BVN showed narrowing the vessel cell fragmentation. And second injection, there's no polyp still. And third injection, we got the recurrence of the 1 polypoidal region. And then retreatment makes regression again. So dynamic change in interregional vascular morphology was observed during the anti-VEGF therapy. So, and also we classified the PCV by interregional flow signal intensity. Sometimes the polyp shows the very low flow region. That means no flow or very subtle flow in the polypoidal region, about 6%. And many polyps shows a high flow region like this. You can see many blood vessels in the polypoidal region. What is the difference of these two regions? This is a specimen from different two patients. And this polyps have this polyps has a vascular abnormal vessels at the top of the region, but there is a amorphous material at the base of the region, and which is a vascular loop polyp. And there is also spontaneously occluded vessels in the region. Such kind of tissue will come to the hyperflow region. And this region has a very vascular rich region. Group of many groups of dilated vessels, and there is maybe this region is corresponding to this such kind of flow or high flow region. Okay? So this is the end of my talk. I talked the concept of basic finding of PCV. This is pathological finding and bring pathological correlation of PCV. Tachycardia PCV and suspect pathogenesis of PCV and OCTA finding of PCV. Dr. Jamie Chen reported the polypoidal vasculopathy review. Very useful. So this is a recommended article for you. Thank you very much. Is there any question? Okay.
When you said about the high flow region and the low flow regions, most of them are high flow regions. So would the response to anti-VEGF drugs be different in either of those regions, or you would have a better response with the high flow regions?
Yes, high flow region is very reactive to the anti-VEGF therapy compared to the low flow region. It's very interesting. Any discussion?
You know, for the study that where you looked at PCV on the OCTA, where you demonstrated that the BBN and the polyp regressed and there was a recurrence, will you also see when the BBN and the polyps regressed a reduction in the flow? Because the images seem to, well, the intensity of the red seems to be consistent throughout.
We use a manual segmentation to see the best figure of the blood vessel. So this is we think that this is a reliable data.
I understand, but will you expect to see less red in the flow?
Yeah.
When the BBN and the polyps regress, because it wasn't demonstrated in the slide that you showed us.
You mean that?
The flow.
Okay. I go back to the slide. This one.
Yeah.
But it's your question.
The bottom, where you're looking at the flow.
Yeah. Oh, this is you mean the cross-sectional OCTA?
Yeah. Would you have expected the flow to have reduced?
Yeah,
given
reduced.
that
You can see a flow signal in here in the polypoidal region, but there is no flow signal in the OCTA. Okay. It means that the regression of the previous. No flow signal under the okay. This is the flow signal of the polypoidal region.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Takahashi,
Yes.
very nice presentation. Thank you. I had a question about the regression rate of polyps where there was a significant vascular component, high flow versus low flow. And in some of the low flow images, you showed us that there are some occluded vessels. Do you think that the occlusion of those vessels reflect a difference in the evolution of those polyps, that they may be thrombosed something, and therefore they have less VEGF expression and maybe therefore reduced VEGF response?
Maybe the low flow region is a very old region with spontaneous or selected blood vessels, abnormal blood vessels, and very accumulation of the extracellular matrix at the base of the region, so that in the high flow region, the VEGF drug is not responsible so much.
Sorry if I missed it, but what's the difference in the regression rate of the low flow versus high flow lesion?
Oh.
That's fine.
Oh. I missed the slide. So can you?
Was there a big difference, for example?
Yeah. I remember that low flow region, the regression rate is 40%, and high flow region is 80% or something. It's different.
Thank you.
Any other question?
The polyps that were not detected by OCTA, so that is also basically because they are low flow. The polyps that are not being detected by OCTA, the reason for that likely is because they are low flow. The flow is less. That is why OCTA is not detecting them. Was there any difference in the regression rate of the polyps that were not detected and the ones that were detected by OCTA following anti-VEGF therapy?
Let's see. You mean that?
The detection rate was about 83-84%. So the 15% polyps that were not detected by OCTA, the likely reason is that because the flow in them was less and the OCTA could not detect them.
The cases with no detection of those OCTA by OCTA was with massive subretinal hemorrhage and PD. If we have a PD, serious PD, it is very difficult to detect PCV vascular blood vessels. So 50% is such kind of case. Because this is a continuous case in my university.
I was interested in the diagram showing the pathogenesis of PCV. So do you have any evidence that the brachycoral causing the RBE ischemic before growing of the polyp, or otherwise growing of the polyp first, then causing ischemia or something?
It's called brachychoroid pigmented cerebus. I'll talk about brachychoroid disease afterward. This afternoon.
Just discuss that in low flow polyps, the anti-VEGF response is lesser.
Yeah.
So would you recommend then, in light of that knowledge, that if we can pick up low flow polyps to begin with, then instead of just pumping the patient with anti-VEGF, we should go for VDT in those eyes, if the proportion of low flow polyps is a lot more compared to the high flow polyps?
That is very good idea, I think. Yeah. For the low flow region, we have to do the PDT or photocoagulation in the extrafoveal region. Any other question? Okay. If you don't, there is 10 minutes left. 20 minutes left. Professor Cole is coming.
Thank you very much. Please thank Professor Takahashi.
Thank you very much.
I understand there was almost a typhoon. So he nearly couldn't make it. It's heading for Hawaii. Thankfully, it didn't hit Osaka very well. Thank you very much. So we will take 5 minutes break, toilet break, and then we'll